sports movies, Mr. Mankiewicz. Hosted Turner Classic Movies at the movies, correct? At the movies? No.
I did host at the movies.
You did host at the movies. What's the name of the show on TCM?
Turner Classic Movies.
Oh, it's not just like a name of a show?
No.
Okay,
I'm a
cool.
host at Turner Classic.
Yeah, I watch it every day, religiously.
Yeah.
So 1998, yeah, 1998, He Got Game came out. It was one of the best basketball movies I've ever seen, aside from Space Jam, of course. Ray Allen and Spike Lee, obviously, and Denzel Washington, Rosario, Dawson put together a fantastic movie. But here's the quote that Ray Allen put out about if there could potentially be a sequel. And then I want to get your take. Sequels to most movies are always fluff and not as good as the first. But it's something we've been talking about for the last couple months. If we get a really good storyline and are able to bring everybody back, then it would be something worth doing. We've got to get Denzel. We've got to get Rosario. Obviously, it's been 15 or 20 years, so there's so many new storylines to talk about. My question to you is, and you've seen obviously a ton of movies. You are a critic of movies. Would it be a good idea at this point to have a sequel?
Sure.
Why?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's not like a movie that was crying out for a sequel, so
Right.
that it didn't seem structured to have a sequel. So that makes it to me more interesting to have a sequel. Like, you know, when you
don't need to have a sequel.
Yeah, when you see the movies that have the sequel built in, where you see, you know, Thor and it's all set up for the sequel, whether that sequel is the Avengers or the next Thor movie or whatever, or, you know, Iron Man, or the movies where, and Die Hard, where it just they lend themselves story after story. This would be a legitimate examination of characters 15 or 20 years later. I presume there would be a third, almost certainly you'd have to do it, and there'd be a third generation. There'd be probably another. There'd be Ray Allen's kid would be playing, you know, or something like that
as well.
But I don't know, something. So it would be interesting. I mean, if they can come up with a story, if Spike Lee and Denzel can come up with a compelling story, then sure. But the fact that it didn't lend itself to a sequel, and it's been so many years later, it has a potential to be interesting.
If they cannot get Denzel, who would you want?
Well, I think if you can't get Denzel, you're not doing the movie.
Really? No chance.
Nobody's going to see a sequel because Ray Allen's in another movie.
Why not?
So
I would.
Yeah, no, I'm sure, and some basketball fans would. But
yeah.
The interesting thing is more of that story, and to see that kid as a grown man dealing with his father now. So, you know, his father you know, Denzel could play some, you know, would be playing a character who's probably 60 years old at this point.
And it seems like this is in the news for not good reason, but timeliness, at least, excuse me, because the Miami Heat are going to be wearing those nickname jerseys. Jesus Shuttlesworth, obviously, Ray Allen.
It all sounds made up just to promote the jerseys, to be honest.
Really?
A little.
Interesting.
I mean, he just says we've been talking about it. I don't know. Maybe they have been talking about it. I don't know.
All right, interesting. I never really thought about that, but that's a fairly good point.